Hi guys, Carrie Medeiros. I moved here December of last year. I have no children right now, and I work in project management for a company out of Boston. I mostly work with schools. My two major clients right now are MIT and Harvard. And I wanted to join the committee because I saw that I was looking for some help, and budgets are what I enjoy doing. So it's nice to be here and meet everybody.
Great.
We're glad to have you all
Good
aboard.
to have you, yeah.
Welcome.
Brian, you want to introduce yourself so they know a little bit about you?
Who, me?
Brian?
I've been on the committee almost as long as Claire, but not quite. I'm retired, been in town for 45 years, although I'm a pretty much a newbie, even at 45 years. When I was working, I was in the automotive parts business for quite a while, and I've been interested in the town politics for quite a while. And my wife was past selectman, so she kind of dragged me into it too. But we'll see. I don't really enjoy this online business. I rather be right at the table with somebody, personally. But I guess everybody probably feels that way too. But anyway, that's it for me.
Ed?
I'm a newcomer to the town. I just been here 42 years.
Right.
Was an engineer for the electric company for 30 years. I'm retired now and happy as hell. Glad to see some new people in town.
For sure.
Jen?
So my name is Jen Stoddard. I'm a practice manager for pediatrics office in Milford and Holliston, Mass. I've lived in Barre for 15 years. When my children were little, I coached soccer, baseball, Girl Scout leader, Cub Scout leader. And then I took a couple of years off, and my husband was tired of me being home all the time. So he thought I would really enjoy this and it would get me out of the house. So I've been on the finance committee about 3 years now.
And Eric?
I'm new. I've been on the committee for a year, so I'm sort of new. I'm just learning how we do things here, and it's been enjoyable so far. I think I don't think we've gone too far wrong so far, and I'm just trying to keep up. And I was an engineer. I worked in Worcester. I've been here 35 years. I worked in Worcester at Riley Stoker Company, and was an engineer with them. I thought I used to know how to run a spreadsheet, but these guys are showing me up in my the challenge.
Well, I'm Claire Adomaitis and the chairman of this committee. And I have lived all my life in Barre. I was born and brought up in Barre, so I've been through it from the time it was a little country town and what it has grown into. I worked for the Sterling Municipal Light Department for 14 years. Plus, I had other jobs before that. My background is in computers and accounting. I'm glad to have you all aboard, and we've got a full 7-member committee for the first time in quite a while, and hope we can get a lot done this year and accomplished. I want to introduce you all to Alex Haggerty. He's our new treasurer collector, and he can give you a little bit of his background.
Hello, as she said, my name is Alex. I just started working here at the beginning of the month. Taken over. I came from 2 other towns before. I worked for the city of Lowell and the city of Woburn. I am from Woburn. That is the town that I used to work for, and I've been in with municipalities. This will be going on almost 10 years, all with the treasurer collector's side, and enjoyed it thoroughly since. Learning every day, keep moving, and I look forward to working with everybody.
Thank you. Jessica, do you want to give a little bit of your background for the two members, new members of the committee?
Sure, absolutely. I'm also new to the town of Barre. I just started as the town administrator back in June. I came on as the interim town administrator, and in August I was appointed as the permanent town administrator. Prior to being here in Barre, I was actually a student at UMass Amherst, and my experience in municipalities comes from my experience as a town council member in the town of Palmer and as an intern for the town of Palmer a couple years ago. And, municipal management is, my dream goal, dream career. And I'm really happy to be here and happy to serve the town of Barre. There's a lot of really motivated residents here, and I'm excited to work with everybody and keep moving us forward. I know Andrew left us in a good place, so I just want to capitalize on his work.
Good. And Sandy Hood, you see on here, she is our clerk for the Finance Committee. Sandy, you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, everyone. I'm the admin assistant. I'm fairly new in my position. I've been in it for 2 years now. I worked for a long time at the Barre Gazette, and I've lived in Barre for quite a few years. So that's all I have.
Okay, thank you, Sandy. Now, did you all receive the meeting minutes and get a chance to look at them?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, all right.
Are there any changes or omissions on it at all? Anything? Or can I have a motion to accept the minutes?
I'd like to make a motion to accept the minutes of, what's the date on that? 12th? 12th or something.
August 12th.
August 12th, right.
Yep.
2020.
Second,
All in favor?
aye.
Aye.
All right.
Okay. We haven't had too many meetings since our annual town meeting, and we usually are supposed to elect the officers for the coming year. Each year after the town meeting, our next meeting is when we elect our officers. We have the chairman right now, which is myself. The vice chair is Ted, and the clerk is Brian. So we need to decide or elect or re-elect whatever the committee wants to do for the following year.
I'd like to re-elect Claire as chairman. Everyone agrees?
All right.
Sure.
Aye.
Yes,
Aye.
I'd like to reselect
Thanks,
Ted as
Claire.
the second.
we second that too?
Yep.
Okay, Ted, you're in.
Vote.
Great.
Does everybody agree?
And-
Yes.
Aye.
Yeah. I'd like to nominate Brian for his job. His handwriting is excellent, and he signs all those papers on time.
Right.
I'd second that.
I agree.
Everyone agree?
Yes.
All right.
Great.
Okay. Now, Jean was going to be with us tonight, but she wasn't able to make it. I had talked to Alex earlier today and asked him if he could come up with the receipts that we have had so far since the new year began, July through October 1st.
So After reviewing them, I believe your concerns were how much have we not taken in because of COVID? Is that correct?
Yes.
I have not noticed that much of a difference, especially with the real estate, as I feel like they are being paid by the mortgage companies who are making the payments. There is not much of a change at all with real estate. With excise, I do see a little bit of a difference. It's only because we sent out a commitment, and I believe that we did wait on the demands in sending and issuing those correct because of COVID. Is that something that it
Yeah.
was correct? So with some of the bills, I do see that. There is not much at all of a difference between last year and this year with the collections. I am not finding a difference at all.
Okay. So we're around that thing.
We have a number though, or I don't know.
So with the real estate, last year at this date, we were at 1.924 million uncollected out of 3.9. And this year we're at 1.97 out of 4.09. You know, obviously the taxes did go higher for what we put out, and there is not, I would say there's not that much of a difference, especially without sending the demands out late. Once again, the real estate demands just went out because I believe that people wanted to give people a chance to pay on time, or if they could, to get it in. But the collection rate is still right there at this time.
Great.
That's
There
good.
is still some outstanding balance as of now for 19. I believe there's 250,000 left trying to collect on last year's levy at this current time. The demands were not sent out until maybe 2 weeks ago because of COVID, and I had just issued them. So hopefully that will also bring in the rest right now.
Good, okay.
Good. Thank you.
Do we have any other questions for Alex?
I think, did you guys have any questions on the OPED, or is that something we want to discuss later on that?
Yes, you can explain that.
So
OPEB.
that is an account that was advised by the state that all the towns, from my understanding, have been setting up to basically counteract any retirement portions that are not there in the future, talking 20, 30 years down the line, with not so much the pensions, but so much healthcare payouts. We do have, from talking to other towns and other treasurer collectors, they do put that money in if there is free cash to be able to put in. Nothing crazy, nothing absorbent, but they do recommend putting in some every year. But that is something that you guys would vote on. I do have 1.4 million in stable money with Bartholomew, which is the count that could be over. I think there's 100,000 in there that can be moved around to there. From talking to the treasure collectors, I've been advised put in 5,000 to 10,000 this year if that is something you want to be voted on. Like I said, it's something that's going to be used 20, 30 years down the line, and it's basically a reassurance.
Why the question came up was the interim treasurer collector had asked me about it because we normally have had an article on the warrant every year with an amount.
Mm-hmm.
And last year's was paid, but it wasn't on the warrant this year. Now, Jessica, do the selectmen decide that, or who just makes that decision?
Jessica?
What was that?
Who makes the decision on the OPEB?
That would have to be,
Would it be the selectman or the accountant, or?
I think it would be a conversation between the accountant, the treasurer, collector, and the myself, and then, the select board as well. But
Yeah.
I'm not entirely sure why it was left out, but that's something that we can find out.
Yeah, if you could look at that and see what, probably maybe with the COVID and everything, but if we could have an answer, I didn't even really notice it with everything going through
Right.
to
So
compare.
just to give you an idea, in 2017, we did start off with 25,000. That was what was originally put in. In 2018, we put in 5, and then 2019, we put in 10. So this is something obviously that they would vote on. But the money is there if that is something that were to continue.
Okay. So if you could get us an answer on that, Jessica, as to why it wasn't on, was it overlooked or was it specifically not voted?
It could have been overlooked. The only thing I'm thinking of is that it might have been an initiative that Andrew was working on, and that didn't, that got lost in the shuffle between the administrators. That's really, one of the things that I thought of might be a reason why it got left behind, but I can definitely look into it more.
Yeah, if we could get an answer on that.
So that would normally come out of free cash? And we've been tracking where free cash was, I guess, right?
It could come out of free cash. There also is stable money that we have within Bartholomew that could be also transferred over that we have invested if it were to be 5,000 or 10.
What's Bartholomew?
Correct. They are one of our investment companies that we do invest with yearly.
Oh, okay.
They pretty much run our funds. Anything from, I have the whole portfolio if you would ever take a look at it. But they run anything that we have in the market, anything invested. They're mostly low yield accounts, low risk accounts, but they are there and they are invested. That is not something that we really not monitor, but we don't change what we're investing in. They do run that portion for us, but we can contribute to however much we would like.
That's short-term investment then, right? For the money that we bring in each year?
No, I wouldn't call it short-term. It is long-term. I have the yield. I have the 3, 6 month, 1 year, 2 year, 3 year yield in there. Some of them are longer. It's a very large account. Like I said, there's 1.4 in there right now. 1.3 is locked up. I can get you the numbers if you would like. I can get back to you with the numbers of exactly how much and where it is and how long it is locked in. I do believe that we can pull it at any time. It's not a CD or anything like that.
Okay.
Well, Claire, what do we want to do? At the town meeting, put in how much we want to put in for 2020? Is that the idea?
Well, if we want to put an article on for the town meeting in June, this would be a yearly thing in June at the annual. That's the way it's been.
Okay, so in other words, right now for 2020, we have 0.
Right,
And you're talking about for 2021?
2021.
Okay.
Yeah. Unless they want to put this in for the special town meeting.
Are we gonna have a special?
I was just wondering whether we want to put in any money at all for 2020. I mean, 2020 was a hell of a year. So, I mean, if things get different on 2020, I don't think anybody's going to, go into any kind of a panic.
No. Jessica, is that something you could look into for us if they want to add it for the special
Right.
town meeting?
Yeah, that's, I was just gonna say, I want to find out why it was left out in the first place before we
Yeah.
jump on bringing it onto this year's special town meeting. So I feel like there is a reason why it was left out, because I feel that Heather was pretty thorough with the budget.
Yeah,
So I think there's probably a reason. Jean might even know that reason as well.
yeah, she might.
Yeah, so, and
If you
Alex,
can
like I
look
said,
into it.
that account hasn't been touched, right? It's just accruing interest at this point. There's nobody's taking anything out of it.
So if you're talking about Bartholomew? Excuse
Yeah.
me? Yes.
Yeah.
So we do have some in there that's invested into 1 year. There are some that are in 1 to 5 years. So the 1 year is a corporate bond. Some of them are government agencies, and those are 5 to 10 years. And we do have some treasury bonds in there that are all in there. So it is a mixed account of investments that they do plan for us. If we were to take some out, we would, it's not something that's free access. With the free access that we do have, there is, I believe, right now I'm seeing 45,000. I believe it can get up to 110 of access to some of it at the current moment, at this moment. Those numbers I can clarify with Bartholomew when I talk to Chuck on Monday, if you'd like me to.
Yeah, that would be good. And then you'd have the info if we,
Yep. Yes, absolutely.
needed to look into it. Okay, now. Jessica, do you want to give us a COVID update and about the CARES Act money?
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll go, we just got notification yesterday that CARES Act Round 2 is open for applications. CARES Act Round 2 will be open for applications from today until October 30th. And I plan on applying for those funds after the next Board of Selectmen meeting, or after the October 19th Board of Selectmen meeting, where they have to kind of approve what we're submitting for. And essentially, for the new members and a refresher for everyone, CARES Act funding allows us to have extra expenses covered through the federal government based off of unprepared, unbudgeted expenses related to COVID-19. The town was allocated $493,000 of federal money. And then that breaks down, there's some expenses related to COVID-19, such as a lot of first responder related expenses that are covered 75% by FEMA and then 25% by CARES. So even that number, the value of that number to us is even greater than just the 493,000. And the first round, we applied for about I believe it was about $240,000, of which, again, a good chunk of that was covered by FEMA. So in the end, we got $83,000 sent to our account. Those covered things like sanitation supplies, social distancing supplies, like plexiglass type things. Every employee got surfaces so we could work from home. We got air purifiers, just kind of a range of different things to help us out related to COVID. And for the next round of funding, this upcoming round, we're looking at a number of other different items. A lot is related to the upcoming election. Luckily, there are, again, multiple different avenues helping us out with election related costs. So the state recognizes that this election and the September election are unlike anything we've ever seen before. So for example, they covered the drop-off ballot box, but one of the stipulations is that they have to have 24/7 coverage of that ballot box, whether that's a person there 24/7 or a camera. So we're looking at using some CARES funds to, purchase security system to keep an eye on that ballot box, and also, other things related to the election. Mainly, the library also had a request for a UV light fixture that will help sanitize books. So we do have a range of other items that we're looking to apply for in this upcoming round.
Jessica, a question on the amount paid in round one. How much was paid by FEMA and how much was paid under the CARES? Dollar
So,
wise.
of what we applied for in round one,
Yes.
83,000 was covered by CARES, and then it was somewhere over $100,000 was covered by FEMA. Again, FEMA and CARES, they kind of work together, but they kind of don't work together, because the way we have to apply for FEMA funds is we have to kind of send in invoices after we've paid them to FEMA. So it's kind of a backwards situation there. So I'm still working with Chief Rogalski on submitting invoices and trying to get reimbursement for FEMA funds.
Okay, my question then, I guess, was, we haven't really received all the money that we we spent yet under that.
No.
No.
Right.
Okay.
And so everything that is purchased related to COVID-19 goes into a specific COVID-19 account.
Okay.
And that way, obviously, we know where we need to pull invoices from.
Right.
And yeah.
Okay.
Jessica, we got the 493,000 from CARES. Have we still got money left in that?
Yes. Yeah. So
What date does that run to?
we have until December 30th to spend all of the funds. And like I said, we're going to apply for round two. I'm going to get as close as possible to that 400 to the remainder of the CARES Act, what we have left in the second round, because the third round isn't, from what the state has said, and again, take everything with a grain of salt, because that is always constantly changing. Around the beginning of December, if any towns have funds left over, they are going to do more like a FEMA style. You pay it, and then we will review it and reimburse. So there's not going to be a third application round. It'll be kind of just the picking up the loose ends for that last month.
Now, on this CARES Act 2, how much money is in that?
It's all the same amount. So it's
all the same 493 as the CARES
493.
1.
Yeah, 493 was the same amount. And towns were at liberty to take the entire amount in the first round, take some of it in the first round, take none of it in the first round. And, you still have that same bucket of money to pull from for the second round.
I see how that's going now. Now, what in COVID, what has opened up, and what are we doing in order to get it opened? I know there was the air purifiers that
Right now we're at, we're open to the public by appointment, and I believe that's the same way, or that, the library they're still being very precautious about it. I still urge a lot of caution when I, think about opening to the public. Right now I feel that, the appointments have been working pretty well for our staff. But I do see numbers increasing across the state. So I do kind of proceed with caution as far as completely opening it to the public, because as you all know, we have about one staff member per office. And if that one staff member gets sick and everybody else in the office gets sick, then all operations in the, town hall have to come to a halt. And that's really what we want to try to avoid.
now, what are they doing at the senior center? I know they were starting to open a little.
Yeah, so the senior center is doing, pretty limited programming, and they're trying to, with all of the COVID-19 guidelines in place, they're trying to still offer some kind of programming, like, coffee hours or different things like that. So I do know that she's been, so far, there's been nothing that's come out of the senior center, thankfully, but I am glad that those individuals can get that kind of socialization that they have been missing.
Now, will they be putting like plexiglass and the air purifiers in the senior center?
Yep, so the
So-
senior center, yeah, the senior center does have 2 air purifiers that we just got the air purifiers the other day, maybe a day or 2 ago. So I still need to drop off the senior center's air purifiers, but that's really the biggest thing. And then as far as what other items that they have, I'm not entirely sure what kind of inventory that they ordered since the beginning of this happened.
Mhm.
Jessica, one question about in-person meetings. Is any thought being given to having those at the senior center?
So as far as like Board of Selectmen meetings or any board and committee meetings,
Any meeting? I mean, there's some departments that haven't had any meetings in months.
right? So I know for a fact the bodies that govern the town they're an exception of the open meeting law executive order that Governor Baker put out a couple months ago.
Mhm.
And it's my understanding that boards and committees can meet in person, but they do have to have access for the public. So like remote access, I should have clarified that.
Could we
So
have Zoom? We could have a Zoom going on at the same time where people could
Correct.
join in.
Yep, correct. Yeah, as long as there's that Zoom participation option for anybody who may want to join in remotely, that's really kind of the key piece right now is making sure that people
Yeah.
who don't feel comfortable meeting in person can meet remotely.
I understand.
And that's what you're starting with the selectmen. I
Yep.
noticed Greg is there, but Matt and Dylan are still at home.
Yeah, yep, they just, they wanted to make sure that we had those air purifiers in, and there was a little bit of a delay on getting the air purifiers. So now that we have them, I think that the 3 of them will be in the boardroom on Monday.
Because as I understand it, maybe I'm wrong, but the selectmen's room is the only room in the Henry Woods that has the Zoom capabilities? What's
Well,
that up? Is that the way it is?
Well, any computer has Zoom capabilities, so you could always just set up a computer at, from a far distance to capture everybody. But the Board of Selectmen meeting room does have cameras that can broadcast it out to the TV.
Yeah. Because I was thinking down at the senior center, what would it do to have a setup there? Would it be a big challenge to have the board meetings there? Or it's better to just have them at the Henry Woods?
I think for the select board, it's better for us to have, because we do broadcast live, it would be better for us to just stay at the Henry Woods building.
But I'm thinking of the other committees.
Right, and they're all welcome to use the Henry Woods building as well.
Yeah. So that might be a good idea
So-
for them all to use that, and then all of it can be done with Zoom. As well as have the boards there, but the Zoom. Have to see what the other boards are gonna do. Now for the ending of
Before we
last
go any farther,
yeah,
for the Henry Woods building, for our particular committee, is there enough room for the 7 or so people to meet in that room or not for like our committee?
Would have to measure
there's-
out the room. I think it's a possibility that we would all be able to fit with social distancing guidelines in place. But I would have to measure it out to make sure.
Okay.
now to go back to the closing of the last year, you said that Jean hasn't really finalized the books yet. Can you explain the revoting on the free cash items that we
Sure.
voted on?
Sure. So Jean let me know that she reached out to the Department of Revenue and she had a question about free cash being certified and sent there was an issue, and Jean can explain this better than I can, but there was an issue with us having our town meeting on July 2nd instead of July 30th. And that just kind of messed up the, I guess, the technicalities of going through and getting everything certified and closed out through the state. So we have to, when we go back to special town meeting, we will have to revote on all of the free cash items. And then that will be the final piece in allowing Jean to close out the books for the year.
So like the ambulance, the police cruiser, and there were a few, the internet, 100,000 there. It's got to be revoted on at this special town meeting.
Yeah, we have to revote all of our free cash appropriations that we made at the town meeting.
Unbelievable. Sorry.
And from Jean's estimate, you said today 85,000 was what we were short.
Correct. That's what was our shortfall last year, was 85,000. But I did the math and we have $117,987 left in free cash.
So that will need to be an article on that special town meeting to
Yeah,
transfer the 85.
correct.
So that will cover the 2020 budget.
Right.
When is this town meeting? Has it been scheduled yet?
We haven't been scheduled. We haven't scheduled it yet. We have been in the talks the past couple of weeks on when we're going to hold it. And we're going to, it looks like it'll probably be the first or second week of November, just because of, everything that's happening with the elections right now.
Right.
Our town clerk, as you can imagine, is absolutely straight out.
Absolutely, yeah. Okay.
It won't be outside, will it?
Oh, I hope not.
I don't know how they're going to manage that. We'll wait and see what happens to that.
Right. Well, the annual town meeting, there was the option to have it indoors. And when they measured it out, they even put, I think, 8 feet in between each chair, and they could fit more than enough people in the gymnasium.
That was in the gym, right?
Yeah. So there
Yeah.
is the option to have it in the gym as well.
Good, good.
Let's see. Now, the thing that I brought up so that the rest of you will know is the DPW contract was signed. And their raises, I'm not sure, are included in the 21 budget that we did and that we approved. So we need to get that information. And also the police are going to be having a contract this year too. Now, someone had mentioned to me that they thought the police chief had put part of that raise that they're going to get into his budget already, but I'm not sure.
Right. I thought he said that.
That's what I was thinking, Brian. So Jessica was going to check up and maybe Jean knows. We
Okay.
can find out from her. But that's something we've got to watch that we make sure, otherwise we're going to come up short with it.
Okay.
Looking at his budget request right now, and it does look like there was, he did account for an increase in that because of the contract. So I'm only looking at the request, so I don't know what was actually finalized, but I don't see there being too much of a difference in what he requested in the final budget.
It was in there somewhere, but I'm not sure it was in the police chief's budget or somewhere else for the sort of the unknown contracts. I think it was in there somewhere.
Well, that's what I kind of remember, Ted, but I'm not sure that
Yeah.
where it is, and we need to see it in that line item budget so we know what the budget's gonna come out to.
Right. That's something, like I said, we're gonna go into contract negotiations next week. So that's something that when I see the police chief, I can follow up on.
Yeah, that'll be good. Let's see. Now, the next thing that we're gonna have to look into, and I haven't pulled up my letter, you know, the letter that they did for the department heads for their budgets last year? It was quite an extensive one. Heather did that one, didn't she? I can't remember. Do you remember, Ted?
No, I do not remember. I know we went around the barn a couple of times on it.
Because I don't know if we need to send everything out again, you know, with so much info on it or not.
Well,
Jessica-
did we get anything back on the answers for those? I mean, more information is always better than less. I just
Yeah,
want
but do you think that they really read all of that?
Well, that's, you know, they don't even have meetings, some of them, so I don't know why they would read it.
Was it in English?
But if we could pull that up, if you could see if it's amongst Heather's stuff, and I'll see if I can pull it up. Because I had to get a new computer this year, so I lost some stuff. But
Yeah.
Ted, you're usually pretty good at saving everything.
If I got it, it's somewhere. Where the hell it is, I'm not sure.
Well, maybe you can find it for the next meeting. That gives you a while.
I'll be looking.
But if we could get it and go over it to see if we want to use the same one with new things in it, or Jessica maybe has a new way of doing, you know, something new. Or our new members, if they look at it, they might come up with a different idea or something.
Yeah, yeah. Sounds good.
So if we can go over that for the next meeting. Now, that's the other question, is when we should set for the next meeting. What are your thoughts, Jessica?
I think we should have our next meeting towards the end of this month if we're going to be doing a special town meeting in the beginning of November. So potentially, let's see, we're on.
Yeah, because probably, I'm looking at the calendar here, that special town meeting, well, the election's on the 3rd.
Right.
And the special town meeting will be the week of the 7th, probably.
Yeah, I could, we could aim for November 10th at the latest. I don't think I would want to do anything later than that.
Now, well, when's Thanksgiving?
So 26th.
26th, because that's the one I was looking at.
I have a question. Is there anything that anybody would like me to look up or get any numbers for them before the next meeting? Does anybody have any questions or looking for, besides what I've already had, contacting Bartholomew? I'd like to have, anything prepared if anybody's looking for anything specific.
Yeah.
I mean, I had a question, and probably just because I'm new and trying to wrap my head around some of this stuff. So I'm looking at 2020, we had an $85,000 shortfall. That's correct. And there's
Yeah.
we're gonna pay for that with 117,000 of free cash. But 2020 doesn't include the OPED funding that was put in the prior 3 years, 17, 18, and 19. That's correct. Now that 100,000 that's from Bartholomew, is that a different free cash than the
Yes, that is absolutely, and I am not sure about the 100,000. That is something, because it is all invested in the market. That can go up and down. So they can take from that if it goes down, depending on where it goes. That is something I am going to contact Chuck on Monday to exactly get the numbers and how much we actually can withdraw from that. And if we should actually withdraw from that, because that may be there as a safety net in some cases. Now, if we were to take a small amount out of there, I don't think it would be an issue, but I don't think it's something that we should include in the budget.
Oh, absolutely. Claire, we never discussed any of that before. We always just let it ride.
Right.
Yeah, the selectmen usually just did it, but the way I got involved this year was it wasn't done. And whether it slipped through the loopholes or whatever, like Jessica said, maybe it was just overlooked with so many people changing hands and everything.
No, I'm
So
talking,
they questioned me on it, and I thought, well, maybe that's something we need to just keep track that it goes through on the warrant.
And the 100,000, that number was given me by prior people. So I please do not focus on the 100,000 number, because that is something I absolutely want to look into and read these. So I would like to clarify that before people see that number.
okay.
And let me talk to Chuck, our investor, and see, why we do have that there and what that, what most towns have and why they keep that number there if there is that, that leg or that moving room.
Okay.
Because I think they've been
Alex is-
putting in 5,000 a year.
That I think could come from this as opposed to that free cash. But once again, that is something that I want to discuss with Bartholomew and Chuck, who we do invest with, and why that is there.
Yeah.
I mean, because they have our OPED account along with our investments. I mean, it's the same company that we have both accounts with.
Alex, we used to have a bunch of taxes that weren't paid, and there was this program for the last couple of years where we hired a lawyer, and they did all kind of stuff to get the money back. Then we had the thing. Maybe you could look into that next time and just let us know where we stand on that, all right? Because, I mean, it was a big deal at one time, and I don't know, maybe it isn't anymore.
Okay, so I believe you're talking about tax takings. When the town puts a lien onto the property, we file with the registry of deeds.
Yes, sir.
Yes. So typically
Yes,
you
sir,
do
that's
that.
right.
You do this every year is what it should be done. You can usually, some people do it in October, some people do it right around this time. As this is a new system Vadar, which I am not completely used to, that is something that's going to take me a little bit of time. And it was also not done for 2019. So what I would be doing would be putting a tax taking on 2020 also. So I would be taking 2 years of levies and put them into taking. When doing this scares a lot of the people. I will warn everybody how it does scare people. They see their name advertised in the paper, which, being a small town, I imagine gets wind everywhere. I mean, my town's 40,000 people, and you put that name in the paper, everybody hears about it here. So, I mean, that's what does happen. We did just send out the real estate demands for 2020, and my plan is to lump them all together. Hopefully, I can get it in April and put the 2019 and the 2020 together for the taking. You have to do it within 3.5 years of outstanding taxes, or you can lose your right to do the taking. So that is something that is going to be a focus.
I mean, there was some real big problems a few years ago in Barre, all right?
Right.
And there was, when we had a problem where a lot of the people paid in cash, and I mean, it was a zoo, but they'd been working on it for a while, and we didn't hear last year where we were, but I, you know, if you hear about it, you'll know. If
It
you look
wasn't-
into that, you'll know.
The taking
I
wasn't
think
done
where we
last year. I do know that. Sorry, go
Yeah.
ahead.
Good.
So,
Do you know who you hired by any chance? I think there is somebody on that we do have under, I don't know if on a contract, but I know there is an attorney that I just received a bill for somebody going to land court over one property.
I can connect with you on that, Alex. I have some information and I want to go over with some of that stuff with you. So you,
Okay,
There's about 50,000 in there for a lawyer.
okay. That is something I'll look into then further. If you're talking about the outstanding lands, yes, that is something that I would have to look into and get in contact with. I believe it's at Benson. I will talk with Jessica about that and we can get in that together.
Yeah, appreciate that, Alex. Thank you.
No problem.
so now for a meeting. We should probably. Shall we put it down for like the 19th? And see, because we need all the information.
the
That's
19th is
a
a
Monday.
November?
The 19th of October.
Oh, October.
No. 19th of November is what
But-
I'm thinking.
Yeah, but don't you want to meet before special town meeting?
Oh, yeah.
I was thinking probably.
I'm not thinking wrong. Okay. Yeah, so
Probably
I was thinking like the first week, but let's see. So if we go back to October,
Maybe October
or
29th.
October 29th, let's
Yeah.
do it then.
Okay.
And then if we have to, depending what's done on the warrant by then, if we have to do another one before the special town meeting or. I don't remember if we had public hearings before the special town meetings. Do you
Again,
guys
you know,
remember?
this will be my first town meeting, so I'm
I don't
not.
think so.
not-
I don't think so. Do you remember that, Brian? I don't think so.
I don't know,
I can't remember
I think it depends on, it
on
has
what's on
depended-
it.
It has depended on what was coming up, if it was a big issue, I think we did.
Well, like we've got to re-vote on the
Yeah.
ambulance and that.
That to me is absolutely crazy because the state told us everything was okay to do it after and yet they backed out on it. That just upsets me.
Yeah.
Yes, I think Jean was equally shocked to find.
Yes, I can imagine she was.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, because she told me she thought everything was fine.
right. But
Whatever.
I mean, we voted on it first once before, and we just blame the state and just vote on it again. That's what I say.
Well, we'll meet on the 29th and if we need to have a public hearing, with this, the elections and everything,
Yeah. It's gonna be tricky.
yeah. So we'll have to think about it and come up with some ideas on it or something.
Okay.
But that's all I have for tonight. If anybody. else has
6:30,
anything
right?
more.
6:30.
Yep. So can I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion, we adjourn.
Second,
All in favor?
Aye.
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 All set. We'll see you again.
Okay.
Oh,
Enjoy,
Thank you,
everybody. Nice meeting
Yeah.
everybody.
Jessica,
Well,
did you happen to get the finance committee books for our two new members? And I didn't know if Eric had ever gotten one.
Yep, yeah, I sent out the finance booklets to our new members, so.
Okay.
Great.
All right, good.
Thank you.
Good night.
Good night.
yeah, good night.
Good night.